You like bolting on the shiny stuff? We've got it, from stainless exhaust to chrome alternators. And sparks, we've got that too, in the form of plasma cutting. Just watch out for the hot little thingies.
No, you're cleaning that up real nice there, pal.
Yep.
You do a good job. Hey, welcome to Motorhead Garage. Well, as you can see, Sam and I are hard at work under this Escalade here. What we've done here is we have taken off the old exhaust system. The owner wants to put on a brand new Borla exhaust system. Nothing wrong with the old one, but he likes the Borla a lot better. And here's why he does. It's all stainless steel, so it's not going to rust. It's going to be on there for a long time. But if you look down through this muffler, it's acoustically tuned. This way, it gives you a nice sound, but it cancels out a lot of the nasty sounds that you get in there. Plus, you get a lot of exhaust flow through there. It helps improve in horsepower and performance. Now, in addition to that, what you get here, instead of a single pipe coming out the back, what he's going to have now is going to look like duals. And this, again, is all stainless steel. All you have to do is bolt it in, and the tips here are all polished stainless steel, so it really sets this Escalade off real nice. Comes with its clamps, and of course, it comes with the full set of instructions. Now, if you're like Sam and I, we always check this last for some reason. I don't know why, but we're used to putting these things on, so we kind of know what we're doing. It takes a little bit of work to do this. Sam, show them what we had to do.
And what we wanted to do is take this exhaust system off from the factory in one piece, because it is welded from the back of the cat to the tailpipe tip. Now you could cut it up and take it out in sections. The gentleman that owns this wants it intact. So what we did was real simple. Take the spare tire out. When you take the spare tire out, there's a heat shield that was bolted up here. Keep the exhaust heat away from the spare. 2 bolts takes that out. But now we need some clearance to thread this over the panted rod, which is the rod that keeps the rear axle from going side to side. 1 bolt. That comes down out of the way. I had to pull the sway link from the sway bar, the link going up to the chassis, so I could get the bolt out. Just like doing a hot rod. Take one thing apart, another thing, before you know it. Really not much to it. That way, we're able to sneak it out, twist it a little bit, get the whole thing on the ground, and now we're ready to put our Borla exhaust system on.
All right, take a look at this. This is your pipe. It's going to go right off of your converter here. It's got a bell on it, slides right on. Now, we're going to use the old clamp on here. That's perfectly good shape. Something, though, that you want to do, I got the hanger. You want to check these. Of course, these are virtually new, so we can reuse those. If you notice, I got a little bit of grease around here. Grease your hanger right here. That way, it'll slide in nice and easy. You don't have anything to worry about. Slide that on right here. That going here. And just to make it work for me easier, I'm just going to hook the hanger in here right now, and that way it'll hold it. And I'll go ahead and put my clamp around here. Now, what you want to do is you want to put up everything and leave it kind of loose till you get it all together. Then you can line it up, then you tighten it up.
All right, now what I got here is the Borla muffler. I already got the clamp. It goes on the front. 1 in, 2 out. All the clamps are in place.
All right, ready?
This slides right up over that. Nice. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, you need to hold that up.
I always have to hold it.
Yeah, well, the hangers are on the tailpipe section. So I'll thread that over. The clamps are already in place.
Don't go for lunch while I'm holding
I
it.
hope I don't hit the side of this Escalade and scratch it.
It's not yours.
I know, but this guy, I know this guy.
Oh, that's bad. Got it?
Well, yeah, if you just hold that still a second.
There you go. You got one started. There you go.
Yeah, right on. I can push this clamp in here, this hanger in here.
All right.
We're done there.
Let me go ahead and then push this one over here.
That one went right on. You gotta do this one at a time. You got it?
I got it. Now you can go ahead. Shove it over.
Yep. I think we should have put this one on first.
Okay, got it.
No, there we go. There we go. Done.
Got it. All right. That went on fairly easy there, dude. And it's looking nice already, I'll tell you that. You know, it's a shame you got such a pretty system under a car.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to see, you can look under it, and I'll drive over you and get a good look. All right?
All right.
All you got left to do is tighten these clamps up. I'm getting coffee.
I figured as much.
All right, now, putting this back together, I put our painted rod back up. Little tip, factory had the bolt going that way. I put it back from the other side. So next time I take this apart, if ever, I don't have to worry about this sway bar link, and there's plenty of clearance to just check things. Once I do that, I'll go ahead, put our heat shield back up, and of course, this fits right back where it was, clears the exhaust good, keeps any heat off of the spare tire, and we'll be done. I just button this up, the tips look good, the clearance here is good, everything's nice, it's gonna be nice and quiet, have a good Borla sound, and we'll be all set. Right now, we need to take a break, stick around, we'll be right back with more from Motorhead Garage.
This edition of Motorhead Garage, presented by Low Car Performance Products, is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company. OPG, the world's largest source for GMA body parts and accessories. Ultra Dent Tools, your leading PDR tool manufacturer. And by Ancira. When it comes to your next Jeep, car, truck, or SUV, think Ancira.
There, you got it?
All right, you can shut it off.
What are you getting there?
Well, this is pretty typical. Got a battery going dead and doesn't have enough current coming out of that alternator. You see I had to blip the throttle to get the diode working. And we got decent voltages, 13, 13.2. We need a lot more than that.
Not bad. Hey, welcome back, folks. Well, you can see Sam and I are hard at work here on this little 32 coupe. And the reason we're on it is because we got a little bit of an electrical problem. You know, the guys build these cars, whether they're street rods like this or the muscle cars, you know, they load them up with a lot of electronics, you know, electronic fuel injection, electric fans, air conditioning, you name it.
Sure, your cool fans, your AC compressor, electric water pump, now you got an EFI system, electric pump, you can have a 175, 200 amp requirement easily. And if you don't figure that in the equation, when you're in a parade, you're gonna kill your battery.
And a lot of guys really don't take the time to do that. Some do, but it's amazing how much current you're going to use in a car like this, especially if you're just cruising around.
That's right. You need the right alternator. You also need the right kind of wires and cable. And by the way, I'm going to take this alternator off. We're going to change this alternator today and put a high quality, high amperage alternator on it and make it work right.
We're going to see if we can get you out of trouble if you go to buy an alternator and hook it up. And we got a real expert here from Flaming River, Ron Doman. Now, you always think of Flaming River as making steering columns. They also make great alternators as well. So, Ron, come on in here. Welcome to the show.
How are you?
Good to see you. Now, you've left a whole array of alternators right here. What makes these different? I mean, they are beautiful pieces of work.
Well, what we've done at Flaming River is joined with a really great company, a U.S. company, by the way. And the point behind this is to put a quality product out that has durability and long-term service as well. But you're right about that, about an alternator is not just an alternator. They're not all the same. A high output alternator is what the term is today being used. But what's really significant about that is how many amps are you making at idle? Our alternators at 800 RPMs are making 120 amps. Most alternators, even though they're called high output alternators, have to be revved in order to activate the regulator internally.
Right.
These are dual fan alternators. They are high RPM capacity. And as you can see here, we have them in a variety of different arrangements for the customer, serpentine to V-bell.
Yeah, and here you got the cover off the back of this so you can see you've got a lot of diodes in there.
Yeah, you'll see that's the key to the alternator. The diode package is what maintains the alternator when the heat buildup starts taking place. And you can see the size of the diodes here, and it's a double layer. So what's unique about these is we advocate the single wire, but as you can see here, we can accommodate the original plug as well. So the alternator is what's termed a single wire alternator.
And one of the other things that I know that's a real bugaboo for guys out there is wiring. They'll buy a nice alternator like this and hook it up to their old wiring, because heat and old wiring can make a real problem.
Well, and of course, you can't drive the amperage through a 12-gauge wire. What we recommend and provide with the alternator is the adequate cable that go directly to the batteries. As you can see here, we also have a wiring kit, because what you want to do is hook up the proper size wire so that the battery gets replenished as rapidly as possible, because as you said, you're using all that electrical equipment on these cars today. So they're not just the standard old flathead hot rod.
Well, we're going to show you guys how to put all this together, how to make your rod work well. So let's see how Sam's getting along.
Well, I'm getting ready to put on our Flaming River alternator. This is a 150 amp alternator, single wire. The neat part is you don't have to excite the regulator in it. It's got new technology with all the diodes and the special regulator. When you fire it up, immediately voltage is coming out and amperage or current is coming out. Now you can get it if you can order it with the multi-wires if you have your indicator light and your field control. Put the pulley on it, it's got a fan. Now this is a chrome alternator, so it's got good conductivity. It's going to ground good. You get a black anodized one or you got powder coated brackets. You can either have to clean your brackets up or you can put a ground wire on it. That's the best thing to do. Now again, we're talking about 150 amps at idle at 800 RPM. And of course, here's the bridge. We take the current from the alternator, get it to the battery. This little 8 or 12 gauge wire that you've got in the harness, that's not going to do it. This is a number 4 battery cable. We're going to run right from here, which is the stator feed, directly to the battery. That'll carry all the current we need. So we bolt this in and we'll hook up our wire.
I've found a 1969 Pontiac Firebird. Now, Mark, this is one of the coolest Firebirds I've ever seen. You call it the LS2 bird, don't you?
Yes, I did the LS2 conversion. I actually pirated my LS2 from a 2006 Cadillac CTS-V and put down into the Firebird.
It's an awesome car, but I also have to ask you too, what's with the Mopar stripe on the side?
Yeah, a lot of folks have been asking me that. I just did a little creative licensing on the AAR CUDA. You know, it was a nice stripe, and so I wanted it to come out to look like a beak with the bird and just kind of change it up for the side.
And the interior, white. I'm not sure if that was the greatest choice for a convertible. Who's going to do all the cleaning on this?
Well, my wife doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to try to get her to help me out there.
What are some of the other really cool features of this car? The suspension, I know, is really nice on this car.
Went with the Heights Pro G front suspension and the rear with subframe connectors, coilover shocks, and Willwood brakes all 4 corners.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks. I've known Mark for 2 years, and I've waited for 2 years to see this car, and it was well worth the wait.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Low Car Performance Products, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage. Well, here's what we got. We got the alternator on now. Like I said, this is a 150 amp alternator. It's going to put out over 100 amps at 800 RPM, and it's going to give you plenty of voltage. But you got to get it to the battery. So we've got this number 4 battery cable. This is the kit that comes with the alternator. That goes on your stator feed stud, and you get terminals with it. You cut it, you heat shrink it, do a nice, neat job. You need to have that. The old 8 gauge, 10 gauge is not going to work. Tighten this down, and we've threaded through, and Ron's done a good job of tying it up down there. We'll make sure it doesn't chafe on anything. We'll put some loom cover on it. Now with that there, how you doing?
Good.
All right, so we went directly to the solenoid, and that, of course, is going to go directly to the battery. That's a great junction block. If you want to fuse it or put a link in it or something like that, you can do that too. All right, we got our alternator mounted. Check your V-belt arrangement. Make sure your alignment's good. And again, this is a 1-wire alternator. As soon as you crank it up, it'll excite. I'll tighten up all these bolts, tension the belt, and then we'll take some readings.
We got to tighten that bracket too. So.
Yeah, I'm going to tighten this up just a little bit here, and then I'll go after that. I'm going to have to get a bar to put a little tension on it. I can still move it. So.
That's a little loose.
Yeah. I'm going to need a bar. Tension that up. Oh, that's good. Okay.
What's good about that too is we have a good amount of belt wrapped around the pulley, so if the alternator goes on load, demand, the belt won't squeal. That's very important when you're installing any pulley system to make sure that your belts have enough grip power.
Absolutely. Okay, now, I've got our alternator tensioned up, the belt is tensioned. Check your alignment and make sure that you've got plenty of wrap around the alternator pulley. If you're just gliding across the top of it, then you're not going to get good belt contact. It may look good in the shop when you're riding down the road and you've got real heavy current draw, the belt will slip. This is nice and tight. Again, runs down to the solenoid. I'm going to put a boot over this and then take some wire cover, make sure that this is tied good and it's not going to chafe against anything. You don't want any short circuits. With all that tightened up now, I'll go ahead and I'm going to eliminate these wires that went to the original alternator, get rid of this 8-gauge. I'll tie these back in the harness, tape them up, because remember, when you hook your battery up, this is going to be live. Until you eliminate them out of your wire harness completely, those are going to be live. All we're going to do now is tape those up, get our meters out, and take some readings. Okay, buddy, fire it up. Look at that. We're about 600 RPM idle, 5.5, 600. We got 40, 50, we had 60 amps at idle. So we're at 14.7 and building the battery back up. All right, ready to shut it off. You know, that's a lot. We didn't have a 13.2 out of the other one at idle, and we had to rev it up to get the regulator to excite. Right. And we had to go up to road speed, you know, 3,000 RPM to get up to about 55, 60 amps here at idle. And I'll tell you what, this is the deal. We had 60 amps at idle. It's a 130 amp alternator. This is what happens when you get a quality alternator, install it properly, and use the right gauge cabling so there's no resistance. That'll end your battery problems and electrical problems in your street rod. Oh, there you are.
I just got out my Barkle launcher.
At least you could have done was make coffee. And by the way, if you're building a hot rod, muscle car, whatever you're building, figure out what you need for current. Call the guys at Flaming River. They can talk to you and tell you what alternator you need, right?
Absolutely. We've got them with chrome and anodized and polished aluminum.
Up to 300 and what?
Up to 320 amps.
That's a lot of current.
More than what I'm going to need.
Really?
Anyway, Ron, we want to thank you for stopping by. And, you know, one of the things you learn on this is whenever you're putting in an alternator or any parts on this thing, make sure you take a good look at what you're doing so you don't engineer yourself into a corner. We got a lot more coming here on Motorhead Garage. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This edition of Motorhead Garage, presented by Low Car Performance Products, is being brought to you by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. Extreme Outfitters. If you can dream it, we can extreme it. Rigid Industries, your one-stop shop for all your off-road LED lighting. Apple Hill 4x4, the area's largest independently owned true one-stop shop. And by Tracker Plasma. Best value, best service, guaranteed.
Hey, welcome back to Motorhead Garage. Well, folks, if you're doing a lot of fabrication, you know, you can cut out parts like this, do it by hand. Of course, it takes a lot of time, but the trick is okay, you want to make another one just like it. That's where it gets troublesome, doesn't it, Sam?
Duplication is a problem. So there's an easy way to go to fabricate a part that you can really use.
Exactly. What we have here, folks, this is the Tracker Pro table. This is a plasma cutter. Now, if you got your own shop and you're doing a lot of fabrication, this would be something you may want to take a hard look at. Right. Of course, some guys set up their own business where that's all they do. You can bring in whatever parts you want to have made, and they'll cut them out for you. And that is the real trick, is how do you get the parts programmed into this?
The Tracker Pro table comes complete. You got the plasma table, you got a plasma cutter, you got your computer and monitor, and this comes with a program. It's like a Corel Draw CAD CAM hybrid. So you can draw parts in there once you learn the program, and then you save it as a file, and then you cut it on the steel.
Or if you're at home and you're a shop somewhere and you want to draw out a part that you want to have made, all you have to do is you can draw it out, and if you got a CAD CAM, put it in there, put it on a thumb drive, bring it over here, we plug it into the machine, program it, and boom. You can start cutting out parts like this, and you can duplicate as many as you want.
This is a very affordable machine. This complete package is really priced right, and you can get bigger ones. This will cut up to 3/4 inch steel. You can get ones that'll cut up more. It could depend on how much money you spend and how much power you have available coming in from the power company.
Exactly. Well, let's see how this thing works, Sam.
Right. Well, we're making brackets today for a lift kit for a Dodge 2500.
This guy right behind us, right here.
So what we had is we're going to go to our program. The guy drew up the drawings, put it on a flash drive, which I've got plugged into the back of the computer right here. All I have to do is import the file. This is just like using a computer at home. Part 1, there it is right there. That's what we're going to make. Now, we want to be safe. We've got the exhaust vented out the door. I'm turning on the exhaust fan. You can hear that running. Now I'll give it a command to cut. It'll index, and it'll cut it perfectly. And you know, I'm pretty new at this, buddy. I'm just practicing here now.
Yeah, these are still kind of warm.
Yeah.
They're not too bad. Well, look at this, Sam. Look, you got identical ones. Came out pretty good.
Yep, now all we have to do is, this is the second part. This is the inboard bracket. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out.
All right, let's get started. We've run out of time, folks, and we'd let you watch it, but we'll see you again next time here at Motorhead Garage.
Turn on the fan, hit start. All right, stand back.
All right, go for it.